You're so welcome. It's lovely to see you. Greet the people of the world. They're there to hear.
Indeed.
Hear all of this morning about St. Bridget of Faughart.
Absolutely, and a great woman she was too.
Absolutely. You're so welcome. It's
Thank you, Rowan.
We had lovely music there of Lorena McKennitt. She's of Irish ancestry. Maybe you know the woman.
I know her music is absolutely
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's very haunting.
Haunting is the word I would use.
Yeah.
No less haunting than the fables, the legends, the stories of Bridget of Faughart. Maybe we can start, because we're looking ahead to the festival of Bridget of Faughart, and that's occurring. That is occurring on Friday the 30th of January to Sunday the 1st of February. But set the scene for us again about Bridget of Faughart.
Well, Bridget of Faughart is mostly known as the Christian saint who was born in Faughart around, supposedly born, I mean none of this is documented really,
of course.
but supposedly born around the middle of the 5th century, and then she went to Kildare, where she set up her monastery. And her monastery was a place of extraordinary creativity, of great creativity, of great hospitality, and of great safety.
Yes.
But to come back to Faughart, Faughart is the place where she was born, and Faughart is a very important place historically in Ireland and in the landscape.
Why?
Why? Because Faughart was on one of the 5 ancient roads of Ireland, which came from Tara to Armagh and onto the north coast.
To go through that gap of the north area.
Exactly. That road was called the Slí Malucra. And the Slí Malucra goes through the gap of the north, which is right beside Faughart.
And I suppose after a day's journeying up from Dublin, by the time you got to Faughart, you would have wanted a bit of a break before continuing the journey to Armagh. And maybe there was areas of hospitality in there too.
I think there were, and I mean, apart from, at Faughart there are many, many different ancient sites, and there's 2 main areas, and one is down at the stream, and that is a most magical and beautiful place with very ancient beech trees and a beautiful stream going through.
Is that the place where people come and tie little ribbons and little keepsakes onto the branches and whatever?
And actually, in Faughart itself, there's one area where there are all these stones which have different healing associated with different places. And the place where all the little rags, mostly, or mementos, are beside the headstone. And the headstone is a stone where you put your head in if you have a headache, or I tend to think of it on a much deeper level than that, because all of our realities are created by our thinking. So if your thinking is not right and not aligned, then you will have a lot of ailments and problems. So putting the little cloth or the little rosary bead or the picture or whatever it is like leaving your burden there with Bridget, leaving the burden of your thinking there with Bridget.
You see, this you're taking me immediately beyond the kind of beyond the fairy tale of the stone healing. The stone's not doing the healing. What's doing the healing is your own attitude, your own philosophy, and you're giving over to the stone.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, absolutely, Rowan, you're actually naming that you have an issue, a problem that needs to be resolved. You're leaving it in a place which is sanctified. And how is it sanctified? Faughart is sanctified by people coming and praying there all of the time.
Do you sense that there is the ghost of the millions of prayers still hovering in the atmosphere of a sacred place?
For sure. And it's a very interesting thing, because it's a 2-way process. People go and are drawn to a place, or you're drawn to it and they go to a place because it has a specific sacred energy. We call them places of strong animi loci, places of soul. And when those places, the veil between this world and the other world is thinner. So therefore it's easier to access the non-physical spiritual dimension of reality. When you go there and you pray there, you draw that even out more fully. So yes, the resonance and the imprint of all of those prayers are there. And when you go to Faughart, I love going to Faughart. I go to Faughart all the time. Coming out of Dundalk, where I live, or near Dundalk, where I live, I'm on the Ballymac roundabout, and I get a call from herself come on up and see me. And you go over 5 minutes, and it changes my energy beautifully.
So when you say, come on up, she calls you, that's Bridget's
Oh,
calling
herself,
you.
yeah. You know,
And you have that sense of...
Yeah.
Because if you say the veil, it's a place where the veil is thin, then that implies that just as you can reach through, the spirit world can reach through to you.
Absolutely.
And embrace you.
Absolutely.
And guide you.
Absolutely. And that's what's so important. And that's what's so amazing about this country. There are so many places in Ireland that have strong animi loci. Places where the veil is thin, where we can feel the spiritual energy. Fahrt is a really important one of those places.
Yeah. You see, one of the things we do in the modern world, we're in a state of denial of these things.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's somewhat not. There's no machismo with this. We need to say that doesn't exist because I need to touch, I need to work with, I need to walk with. But there are more things under heaven and earth than we can understand.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, I was at the winter solstice, part of a wonderful celebration that happened at the Hill of Doubt, which is one of the cairns right beside Newgrange.
Yes.
And what was amazing to me was that I went to Newgrange for the winter solstice in 1986. I had the great privilege of getting 2 tickets and being in when the sun came in. The first time I'd ever been to Newgrange. And it was almost like a really well-kept secret. Nobody knew about it. But coming on now, 27, 28 years later, there were hundreds and hundreds of people there, all anticipating the sun coming back.
Why is that, do you think? 27 years ago, nobody bothered.
Well,
But
I think
now,
people didn't know. We didn't know.
know.
We have, it's very interesting. There's a line from a Donovan song that's very interesting. When the truth is buried deep beneath 1,000 years of sleep, time demands a turnaround, and so again the truth is found. And that's where we are right now.
It's an evolutionary thing.
It's an evolutionary thing, and that evolution doesn't only happen in one direction. It can, we go through periods of where we waken, and then we close down again. And this has happened in all major spiritual cultures. And, we're very, very blessed that in the 17th century, the person who owned that land, an English landlord, happened to have a great interest in antiquarian things because his workmen found the entrance to Newgrange. It had been buried. Newgrange has been covered for 4 of its 5,000 years of its existence. Just gone. Nobody knew about it.
It was covered.
It was covered. It fell into disrepair, wasn't used.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, and so in the 17th century, this man found it. The workmen wouldn't disturb it. You see, there's something in the living memory that even though we don't know it consciously or with any logical reason, we know it at a deep, deep spiritual level. And I think that's the bit that's so important about recovering the energy of Bridget.
Yes. You mentioned about herself calling you. How practically and specifically, how is your life better for that closeness to St. Bridget?
Well, I see it as the closeness to that inner spiritual dimension of myself, of which Bridget was a particular manifestation at one time. There's a Bridget inside of me. And it's the Bridget inside of me that called me to go visit the Bridget that resides in Fahrt, if you understand what I'm saying.
But that means that that it's segmented, that not everyone has a Bridget inside.
Everybody has a Bridget inside.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And everybody has a Christ inside.
Right.
We're just not aware of it.
Yes.
And I think the journey is a journey in awakening that inner Bridget, that inner Christ, that inner divinity that resides in all of us. And when we feel that call and we act on it, it grows stronger.
Dolores, she was a powerful woman.
She was a very powerful woman.
Why did the kings and the noblemen of Ireland allow a woman that kind of power?
Well,
it wouldn't be like them.
They didn't allow her that power. And this is a hugely important piece about Bridget that is as relevant to men as to women. She claimed her own power.
But they
her
would have been of a
divine
mind. They might have felt threatened. They might have been a mind to stop her.
But here's the thing, and this is so interesting because I'm actually working on this concept at the moment for the workshop that I'm giving during the festival, and that is her sense of her own power came from deep within her, and therefore it was not, what's the word, beholden to the whims of other people. Yeah. She was one of these people. We say that Bridget was aligned heaven to earth. She defied her father.
Yes.
She would not marry who he wanted her to marry. She wouldn't do anything that he asked her to do that was not in alignment with her own inner truth. She was quite difficult for her parents. She didn't set out to be difficult. She set out to live her truth.
And was that truth a Christ-centered truth?
It was a God-centered truth.
Right.
I would imagine that it was Christ-centered at that time, yes, because, and you see, again, we have to understand that before St. Bridget came in the Christian story, there was a goddess Bridget. And the Christian Saint Bridget imbues all of the qualities of the pre-Christian goddess Bridget. Yes. And what's really important to understand is that the essence of the pre-Christian came through into the Christian story, and it was like another revolution, another turn on the revolutionary spiral. Because people often say to me, so is what you do Christian? And they use the word or pagan, usually in a very pejorative way. And I say, well, it's both. It's both Christian and pre-Christian, because there is only one story, and the story is constantly evolving.
But she was the person, it seems to me, if I'm hearing you correctly, she was a facilitator of both elements coming together.
Absolutely.
She was the reconciler of the two truths.
Yes, she was. And actually, this is very, very important, because we talk about Bridget as being a threshold person. And a threshold person is a person who can stand with one foot on either side of the bank of the stream and allow the stream to flow. In other words, she was a great reconciler. She was a great conflict resolution person.
Wow.
And that was one of her great gifts. And the reason was that she was constantly able to stand in that place of non-attachment to this or that outcome. So she could hold that space and allow it to happen. But in terms of her holding the balance between the pre-Christian and the Christian, she does that extremely well, because she was very prominent in both stories.
Hold the thought for a moment.
Yes.
We take a break and we're back with you presently. We're with Dolores Whelan.
Destination Newry. Keep it on. We're back in moments.
Gentle, gentle, dental. Relaxing in the chair, a time to meditate perhaps, let go, no worries. Yes, we're talking gentle dental. Let's face it, dentistry is a finely focused, painless science these days. The bad days are long gone. But it's the add-ons, our chairside manner, painlessly safe in the caring hands of the masters at Gentle Dental in Warren Point. For all your dentistry. Perfection. We do it our way. It's as easy as that.
So, you want local Newry and Mourne TV shows on your television? Which video box should you buy? Well, you have two options. Option 1 provides you as long as you have a good internet connection in your home with all the programmes from destinationnewry.com, including
inside the fencing when we were up there. That's such a change. And the dog muck.
Destination Newry.
Radio evolved.
Hello, your weather for today and tomorrow with Destination Newry. Today.
First, this is Newry News Bite.
Well, what's crack in Newry and Mourne today? We all had a great September weather-wise.
We're going to go straight into this show with a lively set of tunes from a band called Sun.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Destination Newry.
Tell me the provenance of that. Where did it come from?
Right there, and welcome back to the studio.
Good afternoon and welcome along to Destination Wellbeing. My guest this Hi everyone and welcome to this week's Newry's Loose Women with me.
Well, it's hello and welcome once again to the programme. My name is Tommy Sands.
In the courts of the house of our God. Praise the Lord.
Philip Rogan, rather, wearing number 19.
Evening, everybody, and you're very welcome to Newry Showgrounds tonight again.
So that's option 1, and to choose this, click on option 1 below, or you can go to vario.ie and buy option 1. Option 2 provides you, as long as you have a good internet connection in your home, everything you get for option 1, including all the programmes from destinationnewry.com, plus you will be able to add over 1,000 private or public channels at the touch of a button, most of which are free. So that's option 2. To buy, click below and buy option 2, or go to vario.ie and buy option 2. To choose your option, either option 1 or 2, just click on the buttons below, or you can go to vario.ie and click on option 1 or 2. When we receive your payment, we will deliver your box to your home, and all you need to do is plug it in and connect it to your TV and your internet. Any problems, we're here on standby to help.
Destination. You've reached your destination. Go!
We're with Dolores Whelan. Part and parcel is Dolores of the Bridget of Fahard Festival. And the festival, Friday the 30th of January, Sunday the 1st of February. And I think we've set the scene very well with Bridget.
Yes.
We know much more about her than we did 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
And we thank you for that.
Okay.
But the festival itself talks, workshops, poetry, Bach flower dances, Bridget crosses, creche making, Eucharist, that's a strange one in there perhaps,
not really.
Ritual celebration of Imbolc, concert, pilgrimage, healing. What's it all about?
Well, first of all, Imbolc, which is the festival that happens in the Celtic calendar around the 1st of February,
yes.
It's not exactly the 1st of February, has always been associated with Bridget, because Bridget is seen as she's the young maiden aspect of the goddess energy. When I was in November, we talked about the Cailleach,
yes,
the old one who brings us into death and darkness,
right, yeah.
but out into rebirth. Bridget brings us. And we said that Bridget breathes life into the mouth of dead winter.
Wow.
And Imbolc splits the winter from November to Bealtaine in half, so
yes.
it's halfway through. But Imbolc is a season which is a festival which is associated with the returning of life.
Yes.
So it's around the beginning of the snowdrops,
yes.
the lambs being born. It's about the days getting longer. I don't know whether you noticed it, but on the 6th of January, it was bright at 5:09. I'm going, wow.
Yes.
We've turned the thing. But so the idea then is of celebrating that. Mm-hmm. So how do we celebrate that? In the festival that we run in Dundalk for Bridget of Fahard, we celebrate it mostly through celebrating the gifts of creativity, because New Life is all about creativity. So we also celebrate it in talks that inform us, different ideas than the dominant ideas. Music and dance. Bridget was she was hugely involved in art and in creativity. Mm-hmm. She was a creative being. So we celebrated with music and poetry. She was a poet, but in the Celtic society, the poets were the lawmakers.
Yes.
So the law came from a much deeper place.
Yeah.
The workshops that we have a really interesting workshop that's happening up in DKIT, the local college in Dundalk, called Be the Change, because Bridget was a change maker. Mm-hmm. We have an evening, a wonderful evening, which we call Weaving Bridget's Magic, on the Saturday night or eve. And we have musicians, we have poets, we have storytellers, because storytelling is such a way to pass on tradition and knowledge and wisdom. And then we have dancing, which is about movement. And the particular dance workshop that we have is is what we call the Bach flower remedies. Edward Bach, this great doctor from England, who discovered the healing power of herbs. And of course, Bridget was a herbalist. All of the art, it was part of our tradition. So the dances embody the movement associated with a particular remedy, and so bring it into your body.
Okay.
So it's, and then we have also Anthony Murphy, who's one of our great supporters and friends. Anthony is has written many books that are really important, but one of them he has written on the Tuatha De Danann.
Yes.
And the Tuatha De Danann were the magical, mystical, mysterious people, and sometimes seen as dedicated to the goddess Dana, but actually they are the spiritual consciousness of this country and of our nation.
Yes.
And the name of Anthony's talk, which is on Saturday morning, is the Tuatha De Danann. They haven't gone away, you know, because in the stories they were in battle with the Fomorians and with the Milesians, and the Fomorians represent the very physical, focused consciousness, and they were defeated by the Fomorians, but they came back again. But then they were defeated by the Milesians, and the Milesians are the people who brought the reasoning and thinking and logical mind to this country. And as you know, that is what is most dominant in our culture, logic. So the Tuatha De Danann were defeated by them. But when they were defeated by the Milesians, they retreated into the hills and the hollows and the sacred places of Ireland. So they're there supporting us if we can connect with them.
I wonder if Louth, named after the sun god, Lu.
Yes, of course.
I wonder if that, is it just coincidence that it's a fertile ground for the Bridget experience?
That's a really interesting point, because if you look at the Celtic calendar, we see there are all kinds of correspondences of the calendar, and Imbolc, which is associated with Bridget, is diametrically opposite Lunasa, which is associated with Lu.
Yes.
Bridget is the raw, primal, feminine energy that brings forth the new life.
Yes.
And it goes through all kinds of changes, but Lu is the masculine energy that fashions it.
Is there something, it just seems to be coming to me, massively guttural in this here, that it's a connectivity between the feminine and the masculine.
Absolutely.
And it's a raw, clearly spoken fact, and it's not something that one's embarrassed about. It is just that kind of clash of the two, the forces of life.
Yeah, and I don't even see it as a clash, because in the Celtic calendar, and one of the I remember the day I was teaching when I saw this, you know, the way you get an epiphany, and it is that the feminine must come first, because it's from the feminine that new life emerges. So when the feminine comes out which was born at the winter solstice, comes out at Imbolc as this very, very potent possibility. But then you have to move towards the masculine energy of action and focus to bring it into manifestation. It's amazing. I actually gave a talk at a conference in Cork about 6 years ago, and it was on the dance of masculine and feminine.
My goodness.
Yeah, they didn't like it. It was an academic conference. I think they thought I was a bit weird.
Well, are you?
Yes.
What a lovely answer.
Well, you know,
but isn't it great to be weird in a world that takes? But isn't it great to be weird and mad in a world that is so pompous to believe it knows all the answers?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's interesting, the word mad. Somebody told me, said mad means making a difference.
Making a difference.
I want to be mad.
Well, my friend, who's now dead and gone, he created in Ireland the Mad Pride Festival.
Oh, yes.
You know, John, my dear friend, now dead and gone, but he was also in defense of recognizing the thin dividing line between madness and sanity as we regard it.
Well, who was it? The poet Dryden says, great wits are sure to madness near allied, and thin partitions do their bounds divide. And I think that, you know, that I've never forgotten that line from Dryden.
Yes.
Probably because, it's important to remember it.
So how does all of this sit? We're coming close to the end of our chat. Where does time go? Dolores?
I don't know where
it flies by. But we want to actually focus on the event.
Yes.
And it's the conference. It's not a conference.
No,
it's a workshop.
It's a series of events.
Events, and it's a festival of Bridget of Faughart. And it's happening Friday the 30th of January. Sunday the 1st of February.
It's on Friday the 30th, Saturday the 31st,
yes,
and Sunday.
And the 3 days. So East Coast of America gets us all there. They're very keen on us there.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time to organise a flight
Absolutely,
home
3 weeks.
and come to it, you
Yes,
know.
absolutely.
And open your eyes with
Absolutely.
Bridget, so that you too, in the course of your life to come, will one day get the call and herself is calling you and say, come here, and you'll find the good of it in you.
Yes, actually we've had many people hop on a plane and come from the States. I remember a few years ago 2 people had to be dug out of their driveways with snow, and they were here, got off the plane, they arrived in Dundalk, and they went to every event.
Yes.
Amazing.
How do people book for the event? Is it residential?
No, it's not residential, but we have lots of accommodation available.
Yes.
We have a website which is bridgetoffochart.ie. It's on the programme there.
And we should actually spell the Fochart for
yes,
people.
if you would, and the Bridget.
The B-R-I-G-I-D. That's B-R-I-G-I-D, off, O-F. And Fochart is spelled F-A-U-G-H-A-R-T. F-A-U-G-H-A-R-T. BridgetofFochart.ie.
And we have a website. You can book anything online. We have a booking system. You can also phone. There's...
They'll never remember the phone.
No, they don't.
The site is the job.
Yeah. And they can download the programme from the site.
From that.
And you can book it on that, or you can,
So you get it then again at the bridgetoffochart.ie. That's your contact. And it's the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st of February. 30th of January, 31st of January, Sunday, the 1st of February. It's the Bridget of Fochart Festival.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Rowan. That was a very interesting...
Shall we bid the people farewell, wherever they are across the planet? We wish you well.
We wish you well.